means now you should not get into that game because you won't like it.
Yeah, and when my mom, I mean, how to say, uh, when yesterday she called me and she said, I mean, it's time to find a girl now.
Actually, it's time to not find a girl.
Yes.
Yeah, even me, when I got married in my 20s, I was a little bit, I mean, romantic, and I had a bit of taste for the relationship. As soon as I turned near 30, it's true that taste went away. You just hit a wall and you understand what it is.
Yes, bro.
It's, I mean, it's really takes a lot of energy away from what's the main goal of life. So, of course,
Krishna
now,
Prabhu, Jai Shri Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Varun Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Varun Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. So,
Hi,
I
Krishna.
can see that Hare Krishna. I can see what is it called? The sadhana chart is going well, right? A lot of participants.
Yes, bro. Not too many, but it's going on. Like 20. We could
That's
have
pretty
more.
good already. Yeah, but at least those 20 are very much encouraged. That's nice.
Yes, bro.
I see that the French devotees are quite strong.
Yes, Prabhu. And new French devotees keep coming.
There's Jani Prabhu, who's he chants a lot, and also Amori Prabhu, I believe, right?
Yes, bro.
Hare Krishna, Manu Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Shri Prabhupada.
Hey, well,
Since all glories to Shri Prabhu.
Hare
I'm very
Krishna.
happy to be in all your association, and thank you,
Jai
Nimai,
Jai.
for having this set. I was feeling and like I needed a boost, and I saw your message 5 o'clock, so I was planning. Let's come.
It's me who needs a boost. That's why I decided to give. Hare Krishna, Dibale Nandi. Bhakta Dibale, Haribol.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Pranam, Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Prabhupada, Hare Krishna. So I've shared also the link today in the Mataji's group, Bhaktin. So there'll be some Bhaktin joining. It's not just for. And anyway, those sessions, as you know, I think I had started them for Australia. Actually, it's Australia timing. So let's hope we get some Australian Bhaktas or Bhaktins that will join. So far, there are none. Anyway, we'll see. All right, so we're about 10 now. Okay, so if there's any topic you'd like to discuss, any questions and all, maybe you can type it in the comment section, or maybe you can just hold it for now and speak it out later. So I guess we'll begin with the prayer. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjalashalakayan Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahim Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Rakunantam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivashakam Vitamscha Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priyam Vanchakalpatarubhishya Kripa Sindhubhyev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, thank you very much for coming. I'll try to see if I can record this session. Settings. How does that work? Anyone has a program to record a session like a third party?
Dimitri, Prabhu, are you recording?
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, because somehow I cannot record here. It says that you're not allowed to record this video call. Anyway. Okay, so I guess it's just us again, a session for Australian Bhaktas without Australian Bhaktas. So, but at least some of you can join me. Sorry, Prabhu?
I'm from Sydney, by the way.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Haribol.
Yes,
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, yes.
Hare
Just now I had contacted, I sent you a message on Telegram just now, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of new to the movement, but I'm just coming from like on the YouTube videos, kind of.
Okay, nice. Happy to have you here. I think just now I sent you a message, right? Is it? Oh no, it's not you. That means we have two.
That was Varun.
Ronit. Your name is Varun, not Ronit, right?
Yeah, my name's Varun, like Veron.
Okay, Varun.
Yeah.
So you see, I've got this bhakta here. I don't know if you can see. I live in Sydney.
Oh no, that's not me. No.
And I just sent him a message, so I thought it was you who just joined. So coincidence. Well, now you know there's someone else in Sydney that's associated with us. So I don't know, maybe we can get you guys contacted. So how long have you been? Have you read any of Srila Prabhupada's books?
Yeah, I've got it in my bookshelf. I just read recently the Coming Back, Reincarnation, Science of Reincarnation.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, like I'm studying at University of Physics, Maths. I come from like a science background, but I've not actually have any like as I say, like Vaishnava Sangha. Like I don't have any association. So
okay. Are you in our Telegram group?
Yeah, I am. I just joined kind of like because I saw a comment from one of the latest videos. Yeah.
Is it on our personal YouTube channel or ISKM channel?
Oh, the ISKM.
Okay, that's nice. Well, welcome, Veron. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
So, since you're from a science background, so from the start, I'd like to recommend you a book called Life Comes from Life. So, Sami Prabhu, could you get the link of that book, like maybe on Prabhupada Books and also on the Krishna store, so you can buy the physical copy if you want, or just read it online. You can share. Okay, so he's put up in the comment section here. So if you could read that or order it, up to you. It's a very nice book because now you're a science student, right? But are your teachers speaking about God? No, right?
Like it's very atheistic science, like practically.
Exactly.
Like I just go to the lectures to hear, but because like with the COVID, I've been doing everything from home as well. But yeah, I just hear and get the assignments done and Like practically,
Mhm.
I mean, like a lot of debt, but like it's hard to get a job here as well.
You're indebted because of your loans, right? Student
Yeah, the
loans.
hex. Yeah, student loans. Yeah.
Yeah, they get you
Yeah.
the neck underwater from the start of your life. Your start of
Yeah.
your adulthood, you're already indebted. Just see the system. In Vedic system, education was free, Why charge to educate its people? Hmm? Why
Yeah,
charge
that's
money to
right.
give education to people? First of all, education is not based on technical skills like what they teach in university. Now, this is Shudra education. Whatever they call science now is actually still a kind of art only, because it's science means to know how things work. And if you're not aware that there's a spiritual potency in the background of everything, you do not know how things work. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that knowledge means to understand that there's matter and there's spirit. So there's two things working side by side. It's not that only matter is there and everything is material and there's a chain reaction that has, no actual cause, and it's all some sort of chance and all of that. That is not scientific. It's so real scientific knowledge means to understand that there is always spiritual energy that works in the background. And that's not very hard to understand. Just like now, you see this body of mine is moving. So, what is the moving force? If we study, we see that the air is being circulated in the blood vessels and so on, and because of that, I can move my. But where is the source of the energy? We see that it's the heart. The heart is pumping since the very time that we were impregnated in our mother's womb. There's an energy that is there, that is pumping. What is that energy? That they don't know, even though they're very proud of trying to explain everything, and they dig so minutely into protons and neutrons and molecules and this and that. They have no clue how all these things are working, are developing. So what is that source of energy that is within the heart? So in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that this spirit soul is within the heart, and because of that, the machinery of the body is moving. So
Yeah.
we can, for example, uh, you see, like Bhagavad Gita, there's some basic verses that where Lord Krishna starts to give his instructions. Lord Krishna starts to give his instructions basically in the second chapter. The first chapter is setting the scene, showing Arjuna's doubts, and he's putting forward argument to evade the battle. But then Krishna really starts to give his instructions in the beginning of the second chapter. So this verse here is a very famous verse. It says, Nadve vaham jatunasam nadvam nime janadipa nachaivana bhavishyamaha sarve vayamataha param. So the Lord is saying, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So he's immediately putting forward two things here. One is that we are eternal, and two, we are always individual, because he's saying, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings. So that means that the Lord is always an individual person, past, present, future. So is Arjuna, and so are all the other kings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So here, Srila Prabhupada quotes from the Veda and the Katha Upanishad. It is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the maintainer of innumerable living entities in terms of their different situations according to individual work and reaction of work. So Krishna, although he's eternal, and we are also eternal, there's a great distinction between both of us. What is that? Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman tamatmastam ye nupashyanti dhiras tesham shantihi shashvati netaresham. So nityo, that means it's the word nitya, eternal, but in a singular form. And here nityanam is the same word but in a plural form. So that means that there's one single eternal, and there are many, actually an infinite number of plural eternals. Now, what is the distinction? Uh, is that, okay, Chaitanas Chaitananam, he has consciousness, he's a conscious being, he's sentient, and so are the plural eternal. Now, Eko Bahunam Yovidadhati Kaman. So the Eko, the one who's one, is given to the Bahunam, those who are many, their Kaman, all their desires. So he's providing their necessities. And this is a fact. Like, who is is your teacher in school doing apples and grains and wheat and all of that? All your atheistic leaders, are they the one that are producing like the clouds and the sun and all? None of them has done this stuff. They've been born some 30 years ago, and then they've read some books, they became puffed up, and they're trying to deny the existence of a God, although the entire creation is full of designs and intellectual arrangements. There's no, you cannot explain how the world looks by saying that it comes by chance. This is complete madness. And because they know it makes absolutely no sense, they're trying to make the universe as big as possible and as empty as possible, so that it looks more and more like chance, right? You get what I'm saying, yes?
Yeah, because
they're trying to say that, like the universe is hundreds and thousands and billions of light years and so on and so on. It's all empty. So we're the only one. So that means, then, it might be chance after all, like that. They're trying to brainwash us.
speculation.
So first of all, exactly. And from the Vedas, we learn that there's no such thing as emptiness. Sarvagata, living entities is described as being all pervasive. That means it's everywhere. The spirit soul is absolutely everywhere. And since you're a science student, we'll dig a bit into that, is that in, how many atoms there are in the universe, how many spirit souls there are in the universe. So just see, that means that the soul is within the atom. The atom cannot exist in the way that it does without life within it. Of course, such life forms are, they're not conscious, they are completely covered. We'll show this, just one moment.
Covered by like the elements and ego.
Well, you see, like when you see fire, stones, earth, wind, this is obviously matter, and there's no consciousness, but that doesn't mean that life is not within, it's just covered. You see, it's just like a plant. A plant hardly looks like a living entity, yet it has consciousness. There are proofs, first of all, in our Shastra, it is said that they have consciousness. And second, there are some modern day scientists also, I believe is, what is the Chandra Ghosh, a great Indian scientist, Prabhupada often quotes, he said that he made...
the physicist,
physicist, okay. So he made a experiment where he was somehow or other, seeing the radio waves, I think, or I'm not sure how it works. But
he was proved his life,
he was bringing a pair of scissors near plants, and then he recorded some reactions from the plant, meaning that not only they have vision, and they have a type of vision, otherwise how they can sense scissors. Obviously, it's different than ours, but still, they're not touching. So that means they're sensing, they're at least seeing in this way. And not only they have this vision, but they have fear. They react. They understand that scissors is sharp. It can cut me, So they do experience fear, which is clearly a sign of consciousness. So here, I'd like to show this verse here. I think 3. Actually, I think I'll just do it in the Veda base, 6:43. Give me a moment. Yeah.
Actually, I think I got misled for a while by Satguru. Because of his like very vague teachings.
Yeah. So he's very clever. He has his game A1, He knows how to get people to follow him. But the thing is, he has absolutely no faith in Shastra. So you see, the great cheating that is happening in India. Now we're going a bit off topic of the science, but we can come back later. The great cheating that's happening in India. You see, at the moment, Indians are sort of waking up that their culture is being attacked, right? We have, the Muslims, of course, the Christians, and so on. So Hindus are starting to more and more get this. The movement is called Hindutva, right? They are trying to revive that pride that they have in their culture. Okay, and whoever comes and somehow or other, directly or indirectly, brandish the emblems of Hinduism throughout the world, they will immediately accept him, because they feel that this is the need of the moment. We need to make Hinduism great throughout the whole world. The problem with this is that, first of all, not only is it in the bodily concept, right? It's thinking about, they're thinking like this Hinduism is for Indians. Okay, so it's not a proper understanding of what Sanatan Dharma is. And not only that, but it's simply to boost the pride that they have without actually understanding whether or not the person is actually representing Sanatan Dharma. And what has been lost is this parampara system, which is based on Shastra. So the acharyas always speak on the strength of, so Bhakta Jagadish Chandra Bose, he has put a quote in the comment section. You can take a look later.
Okay.
So this Sadguru comes, he says words like yoga, Shiva, Dharma, right? Karma. He uses all these words which are found in Vedic literature. He dresses himself in the traditional sadhu way, simple cloth and turban and so on. So externally speaking, he seems to be promoting Sanatan Dharma. But he himself said, I do not want to study Sanskrit because that would have led me to study the Vedas. Right? That means he has not studied the Vedas. And he says, I have never read Bhagavad Gita. These are his words. In some interview, he has said that. So how can you be a Sanatani? How can you be a member of the Aryan culture, Varnashram Dharma, when you are not speaking on the basis of Shastra? And what right do you have to say words like
he writes on his thing like yogi, mystic, and all these titles.
Yes. So, but where is this vocabulary from? Where do you find words like yoga, yogi? Where did it come from?
Because it's quite a hypocrisy. Because like he says, how to give up the ego, but actually he's like misleading the followers. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
He is full of ego also. When they challenge him with his like what is it, safe soil thing, he immediately becomes very angry, and he, I've seen him respond very rudely to someone who was asking a sort of challenging question. You see, a guru will speak from Shastra. You see, this is Srimad Bhagavatam 11.3.21. Tasmad gurum prapadyeta jignasu shrayautamam shabde pare chanishtatam brahmanyo pashamashrayam. So it is said, therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of the bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusions of the scriptures and by deliberation and is able to convince others of these conclusions. So how is it possible that he's a bona fide guru if he himself has not studied Shastra? So such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material consideration, should be understood to be bona fide spiritual master. The fact is that he's trying to portray himself as being the Supreme Lord, or the highest incarnation or whatever. He's got this crazy story saying that some yogi in the past wanted to put all the energy and create a being that will be perfect and that will liberate the world and so on. In this way, he's making this story saying that it's him, What kind of humility is this, And where does that come from? His mind. That's all. There was once some great yogi, and everybody's got to believe his crazy story.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't wish to discuss too much about him. He's clearly a cheater. So, we don't want to be...
mislead.
No problem. It's good. Coming back to this scientific, science found in the Vedas. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam 6.14.3. So would you like to read, Veron?
In this material world, there are as many living entities as atoms. Among these living entities, a very few are human beings, and among them, very few are interested in following religious principles.
You see, so there are as many living entities as atoms. So the living entity is actually everywhere. Actually, matter is a disease, because we learn from Shastra that in the spiritual world, there's no such thing as non-consciousness. Everything is conscious. The elements are conscious, the air is conscious, the the light is conscious. Everything is consciousness. Of course, it has forms, but even where there is no form, the Brahma Jyoti, it's also filled with spiritual sparks. So the atoms in the spiritual world are all fully conscious. You see?
Yeah.
So, but in the material world, which is a perverted reflection, this covering potency of Maya covers the living entity, and therefore there's forgetfulness of spiritual identity. And that is what we call matter. Matter is what is covering us, and it's covering us to higher or lesser degrees. Just like us now, human beings, we're discussing this knowledge, but animals, they cannot. But still, animals, they do display some consciousness. But if you go lower and lower and lower, you see the symptoms of life diminish more and more and more. So what is that potency that is being covered? Because we clearly see a human being's activities are greater. He can build skyscrapers, bridges, rockets, whatever. And as you diminish, the animals are lesser and lesser capable of doing these things. So what is it that is being suppressed? There's something that's being suppressed. But if you take the dead body of a human and an animal and you put them next to each other, then it's equal. There's no distinction because both are matter. There's two dead bags of matter there. There's no longer any distinction. So what is that distinctive factor that is there when they're alive? So that is spirit. So the more spirit is unveiled, the more he will be God-like. So that means the Lord is capable of creating universes, and the more that one is freed from this material, oppression, the more he will be able to perform activities like God. And the highest example in our material world is Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma, who is the engineer of this entire creation. So, of course, modern day scientists would not agree that there's, such powerful living entity, because they're very proud to be the cream of the entire creation. We came from monkeys, so that means everybody else before us was dumb. Now we're the smartest. We got iPhone 15, and we understand everything. And they're, the way they speak, they're so proud. Doesn't matter who you take, like the famous scientist Mikio Kaku, or this black guy with the mustache. What's his name?
Neil Tyson or something.
Neil Tyson, yeah. So the way they speak, they're very much proud of their intellect. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that they're all Maya Parita Jnana. So their knowledge has been stolen by illusion, because Maya has got, you cannot go to God with your mental speculation. That's not possible. Because it's his game, Yes.
Yeah, we're all under the service of God.
Well, we're all under. We're serving him directly or indirectly, but we can never break loose from his control. That's not possible. You see, there's this verse here. I mean, Prabhupada explains in the purport here. Okay, would you like to read this translation first?
So translation. If one releases a conditioned soul or imprisoned person according to religious principles, he himself is also released from material bondage by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It appears from this statement. Sorry.
Yeah, you can go. Here.
Yeah. There are two kinds of covering powers exhibited by Maya. One is called Prakshapatmika, and the other is called Avaran-nathmika. When one is determined to get out of material bondage, the Prakshamatmika Shakti, the spell of diversion, impels one to remain in conditioned life, fully satisfied by sense gratification. Due to the other power, Avaran-atmika, a conditioned soul feels satisfied even if he is rotting in the body of a pig or a worm in stool. To release a conditioned soul from material bondage is very difficult because the spell of Maya is so strong. Even when the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself descends to deliver conditioned souls, asking them to surrender unto him, The conditioned souls do not agree to the Lord's proposal. Therefore, Sri Sanatana Goswami said, somehow or other, if one helps another gain release from the bondage of Maya, he is certainly recognized immediately by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As
Yeah.
stated in Bhagavad
So
Gita.
right. So you see, these two potency here are how Maya works. So one is called Prakshipatmika, and the other called Avaranatmika. So when one is determined to get out of material bondage, the Prakshipatmika Shakti, the spell of diversion, impels one to remain in conditional life, fully satisfied by sense gratification. So this is what is acting on those scientists. Although they try to understand, what is going on, how is this world come about, and this. So in other words, they're trying to get back the knowledge that they've lost, and they're trying to get liberation from conditional life, like going to other planets and all of that. It's all a struggle to try to get freed from basically the problem that they're actually feeling is going on. But this spell. So there's another place where Prabhupada explains that also.
So what is the, is this from Srimad Bhagavad Gita?
That was in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I don't know if you see Madhya Lila, chapter 20, text 6 in the purport.
Okay,
So
I've only read up to like Srimad Bhagavad Gita, basically.
yeah, you should start from there also. That's the ABC of spiritual life.
Yeah.
And although it's the ABC, it's still very, very advanced compared to anything else on the planet.
Yeah.
I'm putting the quotation down here in the chat box. Okay.
In the chat,
yeah. Now I'd like to share another purport where Prabhupada speaks of these two potency. Okay, this is an interesting verse because okay, you can read the verse, the translation, and you can continue if you want.
Yeah. Shankar Acharya, who is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, is faultless because he is a servant carrying out the orders of the Lord. But those who follow the Mayavadi philosophy are doomed. They will lose all their advancement in spiritual knowledge.
Okay, so here Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking of Sankaracharya, so who's very, of course, is an acharya, very famous, who propounded the Mayavad philosophy, which means Mayavadi means that they believe that God has no form. Ultimately, God is formless. No hands, no legs, no eyes, no senses, no desires, like this. So Sankaracharya is actually an incarnation of Lord Shiva who came to kick out Buddhism from India and re-establish the authority of Vedic literature. So, but he had to do that in order to bring back Vedic literature as prominently used in India. But his philosophy was a sort of compromise between actual conclusion of the Vedas and Buddhism. Because in those days, people were so much engrossed in atheistic ideologies that Buddhism promotes that they had to get a step between Vaishnavism and atheism. And that's where Sankaracharya comes in. That Brahman, Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. So Brahman is eternal and truth, but Jagat, this material universe, is false. Whereas Vaishnava, we say, no, it's not false. The material universe is not false. It's real also because it's in the energy of the Lord. But to think it to be separate from God is false. That's the mistake. So anyway, that's another topic, but it's nice to know. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada speaks again of these two potencies. So you can read the purport here.
Mayavadi philosophers are very proud of exhibiting their Vedanta knowledge through grammatical jugglery. But in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna certifies that they are Maya Yapata Jnana, bereft of real knowledge due to Maya. Maya has two potencies with which to execute her two functions. Prakshipatmika Shakti, the power to throw the living entity into the ocean of material existence, and Avaranatmika Shakti, the power to cover the knowledge of the living entity. The function of the Avaranatmika Shakti explained in the Bhagavad Gita by the word Maya yaparta jnana.
Yes. So in the Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse where Krishna speaks of 4 types of people that don't surrender to him. And your university professors fit in that category, which means although they have got jnana, it is maya yaparita, so stolen away by Maya. So their jnana, they're puffed up with all their word jugglery, atom, neutrons, gravity, and so on. But ultimately, they're also gonna die. They're in the same boat as us. We're about to drown because death is coming, and it's the exact same thing for them. Let's say on the Titanic, and the Titanic hits, and all the boats, the saving boats leave. There's no way that we can save ourselves. And you start to tell me that no, it hit because of that, and you should do like this, and you should do like that, and you should do, and you start to talk to me. Excuse me, sir, you're about to drown like me. You're gonna die like me, So why are you trying to be superior to me at the moment? You're on the boat. You're about to end your life, so as me, but you're puffed up with this word and making some jugglery. How you can help me? So this is the position of all these professors. They will talk so much. They have those big boards, right, filled with equation and thing and that, and they're talking and talking. This is cheating, because you don't know how to liberate the living entity from the clutches of death. But you're standing in front of everyone and you're posing as if you're an authority. Therefore, they are worse than the students. The students are the cheated, but the cheater are always more culprit than the cheated, you see. So because they don't know how things are working. If you ask them, why are we born? Why I'm forced to grow old at the moment? I don't want to grow old. Can you help me stop death? No, this is how the world works. That means you don't know. You don't know. You cannot say this is how the world works. You don't know how it works. You should explain. And whenever someone uses the word chance, it shows 2 things. He's ignorant of the actual cause, and he's proud. Why he's proud? Because instead of saying, I don't know, he says, oh, it's chance. He still wants to put forward the answer. That means that he's proud. He doesn't want to admit his ignorance. When you say chance, that means it's a plea. It's a loophole. They're escaping, right? You put them in the corner. Okay, so how did life come from matter? You're saying life come from matter. How did it occur? At one point there was something, and blah 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 blah. They start to juggle something. Can you do it? No, I can't really do it. So that's the loophole. That's where they escape. Finally, you get them in the corner, and they escape with that sentence. No. Maybe in the future we'll do. Prabhupada says this is what they do. In the future we shall do. What is this kind of trust no future, however pleasant? Oh, you want to buy my house? Yeah, go ahead.
I don't. Like, whenever I get the knowledge from my professors, I don't really I respect them a lot. But I just watch the recorded versions, because sometimes it's too hard to hear. Because we were talking about the moon, and because he's an astronomer, and then because it's Australia, we pay respect to the Aboriginal people of the land before we start any lesson. And then he's talking how there's a shape of the emu on the moon. So every culture has a different view of the moon, on the craters of the moon. So it's kind of just wasting time just speculating about and then he also talked about the stars in the sky, and this, because in the Vedas they say that the Big Dipper is actually the Sapta Rishis, the 7 stars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And how will they accept this, right? That there's 7 sages that are the predominating personality on these 7 stars. First of all, they think that stars is a big burning ball, like the sun, isn't it? You see, their philosophy is full of holes. First of all, they say life comes from matter. Okay, they haven't proven that. That means they are having faith in something that is not scientific, because science means theory and practice, and the practice has not been there yet. But they say, no, it's been largely accepted by a large group of scientists. We say it's been largely speculated by a large group of rascals, because there's no proof. But every single day we see that life comes from life. I came from life. My father and mother. My son came from life. From me, you see. So there's billions of examples that life comes from life every single day. Yet they say originally, in the beginning, not now. Now life comes from life, okay? But in the very beginning, life came from matter. Okay, so you're saying that it happened in the past, not anymore, but you're going to prove it in the future. How does that work? You're saying originally life came from matter. It's not happening now. We cannot see life coming from, but we're going to do it in our test tubes in the future. So they're full of speculation. And then, okay, if you don't know what life is, but you think that life can exist only with carbon, and they analyze the body, and they say, oh, you need all these things to create life, but you have not done it. Actually, from the Vedas, we learn that the specific type of body is given according to the atmosphere. Just like when you go in the water, you need this suit, right? I don't know, I forgot how you call it. And if you go like in space, you need a different type of suit. So according to the environment, you need a specific type of body. Just like a fish feels very much good in the water. As we go there, we die. So according to the environment, the Lord will give a specific type of body that is allowing you to live in those circumstances. So similarly, in fire, in a fiery planet like the sun, there's a specific type of body that is capable of enduring that. You cannot. You'll be fried, but not them. And similarly, the moon, same thing. And the stars, same thing. So they have a very, very narrow understanding of different types of body. So, okay, maybe we can
change topic. Yeah.
no, not necessarily change topic, but you can finish that purport here. The purport you were reading, we can finish it, then we can continue. You go ahead, read this.
Yep. So, why the Daivi Maya or illusionary energy of Krishna takes away the knowledge of the Mayavadi philosophers is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita by the use of the word asuram bhavam ashrita, which refers to a person who does not agree to the existence of the Lord. The Mayavadis who are not in agreement with the existence of the Lord can be classified in two groups, exemplified by the impersonalist Sankarites of Varanasi and the Buddhists of Saranatha. Both groups are Mayavadis, and Krishna takes away their knowledge due to their atheistic philosophies. Neither group agrees to accept the existence of a personal God. The Buddhist philosophers clearly deny both the soul and God, and although the Sankarites do not openly deny God, they say that the Absolute is nirakara, or formless. Thus, both the Buddhists and the Sankarites are Vishuddha Buddhaya, or imperfect and unclean in their knowledge and intelligence. The most prominent Mayavadi scholar, Siddhananda Yogindra, has written a book called Vedanta Sara, in which he expounds the philosophy of Sankaracharya, and all the followers of Shankara's philosophy attribute great importance to his statements. In this Vedanta Sara, Siddhananda Yogindra defines Brahman as Satchidananda, combined with knowledge and without duality. And he defines ignorance, Jada, as knowledge distinct from that of Sat and Asat. This is almost inconceivable, but it is a product of the three material qualities. Thus, he considers anything other than pure knowledge to be material. The center of ignorance is considered to be sometimes all-pervading and sometimes individual. Thus, according to his opinion, both the all-pervading Vishnu and the individual living entities are products of ignorance. In simple language, it is the opinion of Siddhananda Yogindra that since everything is nirakara, formless, the conception of Vishnu and the conception of the individual soul are both products of ignorance. He also explains that the Vishuddha Sattva conception of the Vaishnavas is nothing but pradhana, or the chief principle of creation. He maintains that when all-pervading knowledge is contaminated by the Vishuddha Sattva, which consists of a transformation of the quality of goodness, there arises the conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the omnipotent, omniscient, supreme ruler, the super soul, the cause of all causes, the supreme Ishvara, etc. According to Siddhananda Yogindra, because Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, is the reservoir of all ignorance, he may be called Sarvagya, or omniscient. But one who denies the existence of the omnipotent Supreme Personality of Godhead is more than Ishvara or the Lord. In its conclusion,
so this might be all a bit confusing, but the point here is that this man here, He's making word jugglery in order to try to establish that whatever knowledge we have of the Lord is also a product of the three modes. Whatever we think of God or his form is also a reaction of the three modes. You see, so that is the most dangerous sort of philosophy, because it comes to deny God completely, and to ultimately say that we are also this absolute truth. We're also God. That's the conclusion. Okay, continue.
Yep. If we accept the judgment of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, however, the Mayavadis are to be considered Maya Yapartha Jnana, or bereft of all knowledge, because they do not recognize the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or they claim that his existence is a product of the material conception, Maya. These are characteristics of asuras or demons. So, yeah. The Mayavadis.
Yeah. So, okay. Anyway, so it continues, but the you get the idea, and your professors fit in that. They're also the same category, and how we can know that they're wrong actually is very simple. They're not the Lord of their existence. If we were all God, then how is it that we're conditioned? How is it that we cannot just get freed simply by desiring it? Like, I don't want to be feeling hunger, thirst, or lamentation, illusion, bewilderment. All these things are imposed upon me. I don't want that. So why can't I just click of my finger be freed from them? That means it's a superior potency. And Krishna says, Daivi esha gunamai mamayara duratyaya. He says that this external energy consisting of the three modes is my energy, and it's extremely hard to overcome. So there must be someone who's controlling these things. So anyway, I would like you to really read this Life Comes from Life book from Srila Prabhupada, because you're in an atheistic environment, and it can be very overwhelming at times. So you have to protect yourself by constantly hearing real knowledge from a self-realized soul.
Yeah.
How much longer you have there?
Like, it's a 6.5 year course.
And how many you've done?
2.5. So like I got 4 years left, including this year.
So what's your major? I mean, what's your
major is mathematical science, and minor is physics.
Physics. Okay.
Double degrees.
So mathematical science and physics, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, so that attracts you, huh? To analyze matter,
Yeah. Actually, yeah, like I did pretty, because like in Australia they have the HSC, and every country has a different system. But like, yeah, like it is atheistic teaching, like, that you have to go through.
Well, you see, you can be capable of seeing it, understanding much better than they do, because what they will be discussing is the movement of the material elements. They're seeing the layer only. They're not understanding the underlying cause. But if you study that and you surcharge it with God consciousness, that can, to say, you can also still remain Krishna conscious even though you're at school. But you have to keep hearing from Prabhupada, and you have to read, Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a lot of, there's a whole chapter of the description of the atom in Srimad Bhagavatam, and that's 5,000 years ago. And it explains it better than the way that they say, because what is movement? Movement is basically just first of all, it's within a time span, right? What is time? We say like a minute, a second, and this and that. What is that? We all calculate everything according to the movement of the sun, right? So the sun, from one point to the exact same point the next day, it's 24 hours. And from that, we divide. Now, what is the smallest frame of existence? You know what I mean? Like a camera like can shoot like 60 frame per second, 120, right? There's some cameras that shoot so fast. So what is the smallest frame of movement that exists in the material world? Right? You understand my point? Like the smallest amount of movement calculable. Obviously, it's going to go into the atomic world, right? Because this is where the movement is the smallest and the fastest. So, all right. So the Srimad Bhagavatam speaks of this. You see, that might be interesting to you. So,
yeah, I think
Srimad
the time, like in science, there's a lot of language like pico, thermo, and everything, up to like really small. And then in the Vedas, they use the time, like kalpa and
yes. So
I'm not
so from the smallest amount of time all the way to the largest amount of time.
That's
that
in
is
the book.
given given in Vedic literature. So we have in Bhagavad Purana. I just want to be showing this with you. Okay, so this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 11. Okay, so you can start reading from verse 1 onward.
So the material manifestation's ultimate particle, which is indivisible and not formed into a body, is called the atom. It exists always as an invisible identity, even after dissolution of all form. The material body is but a combination of such atoms, but it is misunderstood by the common man.
Okay, so when do modern day scientists say that they have discovered this atomic theory? What is it, like some 300 years ago?
Yeah,
or
and
more
even
than
so,
that?
they take it for granted.
Sorry?
Like even so, they take it for granted that it's like, because like they
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I
they
think
say
the first. It was in
they
the
say it's only
1700s.
Yeah, that's it. So about
Yeah.
300 years ago. So, but here we have Srimad Bhagavatam, which is 5,000 years old. And here it says, and this word here, atom, is the same. You speak Hindi?
I actually want to learn. I kind of have no
Okay.
knowledge
Anyway,
except English. Yeah.
You see this word here, paramanu. Anu, you know what it means? Anu?
Anu?
Anu means very small, you know?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so parama anu, which means the smallest, you know, and that's the same word that they use, I believe, now in Hindi also for atom, paramanu. So it's clear that they're speaking about the atomic particle, even though it's 5,000 years ago. Okay, you can continue. Next two.
Yeah. Atoms are the ultimate state of the manifest universe. When they stay in their own forms without forming different bodies, they are called the ultimate oneness, unlimited. Sorry, they're called the unlimited oneness. There are certainly different bodies in physical forms, but the atoms themselves form the complete manifestation. One can estimate time by measuring the movement of the atomic combinations of bodies. Time is the potency of the Almighty Personality of Godhead, Hari, who controls all physical movement, although he is not visible in the world.
In the physical world, yeah.
In the physical world. Atomic time is measured according to its converting a particular atomic space. That time, which covers the unmanifest aggregate of atoms, is called the great time.
So you see, so atomic time is measured according to its covering a particular atomic space. So how much lapse, how much space the atom has covered is calculated as being a specific unit of time. So, Shri Prabhupada, you can read the purport.
Time and space are two correlative terms. Correlative terms. Time is measured in terms of its covering a certain space of atoms. Standard time is calculated in terms of the movement of the sun. The time converted by the sun in passing over an atom is calculated as atomic time.
So you see, so the sun is moving, right? Then we divide hours, minute, and so on. But the sun, when the sun passes over only an atom, you see, passing over an atom, how small that is, right? The sun is so huge. And when he crosses one atom, that is calculated as the atomic time. That's the smallest calculable time that exists. Anything smaller than that is speculation. And I think that modern day scientists might go even smaller than the time that we're going to be seeing now, but it's speculation because it has no physical phenomena. You follow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No standard mark to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no movement that is that short, so that means it doesn't exist. You see? So okay, go ahead.
Yeah. The greatest time of all covers the entire existence of the non-dual manifestation. All the planets rotate and cover space, and space is calculated in terms of atoms. Each planet has its particular orbit for rotating, in which it moves without deviation. And similarly, the sun has its orbit. The complete calculation of the time of creation, maintenance, and dissolution, measured in terms of the circulation of the total planetary systems until the end of creation, is known as the supreme Kala.
Yeah. So that supreme Kala is the weapon actually of the Lord, the Sudarshan Chakra. You know?
Yeah.
And he's the one who is putting this whole soup of planets into movement with his time factor. So you see, so time and space are two correlative terms. This is not, Einstein, he came with his theory of relativity, right? That time and space cannot be divided. And this is not something new. This is known a long time ago. It's not that he invented that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it said somewhere in the Bhagavatam that some people see the world according to relative truths, like common people, because he came up with the relativity theory. Einstein.
Well, as long as you are in the material world, everything is a relative truth. It's not absolute. Your truth exists if another truth is there. So that's relative. That's the meaning of relative. You cannot exist independently of something else, right? Just like light cannot exist independently from darkness. You cannot describe light without darkness. Okay.
Yeah.
And movement cannot explain without time. Cannot be explained without physical form. How to explain movement without physical form? So we live in a world of relativity where everything is interlinked. But spiritual existence is not like that, and that's why you cannot understand it with your material mind. Just like, for example, God is the supreme cause of all causes, but he has a kingdom, he has entourage, he has friends, he has activities. Now, what's the cause of these things? Well, there's no cause. You see, so our way of thinking just collapses when you try to understand God the same way that we try to understand physical elements, physical manifestations. So, yeah, we'll continue reading these verses as they're interesting. Okay, 5.
The division of gross time is calculated as follows: 2 atoms make 1 double atom, and 3 double atoms make 1 hex atom. This hex atom is visible in the sunshine, which enters through the holes of a window screen. One can clearly see that the hex atom goes up towards the sky.
Okay, just see how simple they're giving us the shape of this hex atom. Okay, so the division of gross time is calculated. Okay, we'll dive into this verse. So Srila Prabhupada says the atom is described as an invisible particle, but when 6 such atoms combine together, they're called trasarenu, and this is visible in the sunshine pouring through the holes of a window screen. So here, actually, what we call the atom here is actually invisible. You cannot see it. So, but when 6 of those atoms become combined, they can be seen. Now, I'll explain that in a bit. But it's possible that what the scientists called bosons and this and that, which constitute the atom, we call the atom. That's my speculation here. Because
can I just add one thing? When it says the hex, when it says the hex atom is visible in the sunshine, does that mean that it's like The
I'll
particle
come to
of
that.
sunlight. Oh,
Yeah, I'll come to that. You see, it's yes, because a particle of because what they call whatever, I believe they call it
photon.
proton. No, what is the molecule of sunshine?
Photon.
They call
Photon.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So they have many fancy names, but in the Vedas it's called atom, like that. So what I was saying just now is that since the paramanu, Sanskrit word is paramanu, that is invisible. You cannot see it. You can see it only when it's formed into a shape of 6 that are formed together. First they combine in 2. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's the smallest movement existing. 2 atoms, linking together. There's nothing faster than that. You understand?
Mm.
Then what is a bit longer than that is 3 of those pairs coming together. All right, that's a time that is a little bit longer. Of course, we're speaking of such small time here that we cannot understand really, but theoretically we're speaking about it. So, but then that becomes observable. Okay, and I'll show how. But so what the material scientists now are saying is that atom can be visible. I think they have got this machine that they somehow or other they can see the atom, and they say that when they break these atoms, there's bosons and stuff that come out, right? So my speculation, I cannot tell you that this is a fact, is that maybe what they're calling atom, we call this hexatom. Okay, that's my speculation. That's not what I think, maybe. Anyway, so now we come to this hexatom. The example is that you can see the shape of the atom coming through the, sometimes there's some screen on the window, it comes. Now, how can you see that? When I was reading that, I was thinking how you can see it. It's so small. Actually, it's not that you're seeing the atom, is you're seeing the shape of the atom. So the example is this. You see this? So this is a honeycomb, right? So a honeycomb is constituted of many small hexagons, right? There's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you look back, you can still see the same shape if you follow, like 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, 3 here. You get it?
Yeah.
You understand? Okay. So if you would, let's say there's like a wall of honeycombs big like the sky. Still, even though you cannot see, let's say that the sky is filled with honeycombs, you cannot see the individual one, but you will be able to trace out a hexagon. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So similarly, it's the same thing when sunshine pours through those holes. And now in modern days, we have lenses which create the same effect. So you see why these things are shooting like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What are we observing? We are actually observing the shape of the atom.
Oh,
you get it?
I never thought of it like that. Yeah.
Yes. So
yeah,
it's because it's hundreds of thousands of billions of photons together, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they come in the shape of hexagons. So that means that we will be able to see that.
Yeah.
So this is what this verse is saying. Just see, such a simple. I mean, in one verse, we got the shape of the atom. We don't need this all, thousands of years of research and speculation and that, and creating this huge. And first of all, it's a waste of time. Even though okay, now we know the shape of the atom. So what? I mean, does it help us advance spiritually? Of course, Srimad Bhagavatam is giving the information out there because, after all, it's the energy of the Lord, and so it gives some information. But here we have it. That's it. So isn't that impressive?
Yes,
right?
very impressive. Simple and impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, simple and impressive. And this is what Vedic culture is all about. Everything is simplified. Okay, we can go back to here, text 6.
Text 6. The time duration needed for the integration of 3 Trasarenus, is that how you say it?
Trasarenus, yeah.
Trasarenus is called a Shruti, and 100 Shrutis make 1 Veda. 3 Vedas make 1 Lava. The duration of time of 3 lavas is equal to 1 Nimesha. The combination of 3 Nimeshas make 1 Shana. 5 Shanas combined together make 1 kashta, and 15 kashtas make one lagu. 15 lagus make one nadika, which also called a danda. 2 dandas make one muhurta, and 6 or 7 dandas make 1/4 of a day or night, according to human calculation.
Yeah, so you see, so all the way from the smallest movement, we come all the way here. Now, I believe it's in this purport. There's a purport where Prabhupada will break it all down and put it into... okay, whoever knows which purport it is, maybe you can let us know. There's a purport where Prabhupada just puts it, you know. So okay, so now again, another way to simplify things, how to calculate. Read this verse here.
The measuring pot for one nadika or danda can be compared with the 6 pala weight, 14-ounce pot of copper, in which a hole is bored with gold probe weighing 4 masa and measuring 4 fingers long. When the pot is placed on water, the time before the water overflows in the pot is called one danda.
So you see, so in a simple manner, without high-tech technological things, we can calculate one danda. So Prabhupada explains that in the purport. You can read this.
It is advised herein that the bore in the copper measuring pot must be made with a probe weighing no more than 4 masa and measuring not longer than 4 fingers. This regulates the diameter of the hole. The pot is submerged in water and the overflooding time is called a danda. This is another way of measuring the duration of a danda. Just as time is measured by sand in a glass, it appears that in the days of the Vedic civilization, there was no dearth of knowledge in physics, chemistry, or higher mathematics. Measurements were calculated in different ways, as simply as could be done.
Yes, so that's it. So now, okay, in 3:11:14, Dimitri Prabhu and Sami Prabhu have shared. So we'll go, and then okay, it doesn't stop there. You see, then it says, Bharata's Yamas. You see, okay, text 11, you can read.
The aggregate of 2 fortnights in 1 month, and that period is 1 complete day and night for the Pitta planet. 2 of such months comprise 1 season, and 6 months comprise 1 complete movement of the sun from south to north.
So you see that period is 1 complete day and night for the Pitta planet. That means that on other planets, day and night is not the same length as us. So for the Pitta, who are the ancestors, they have 1 day is our 1 month. You see, and then even higher than them, you can read this.
2 solar movements make 1 day and night of the demigods, and that combination of day and night is 1 complete calendar year for the human being. The human being has a duration of life of 100 years. Yeah,
so that's the standard, duration of life for us. Of course, we've diminished it because of so many unnatural way of living. But so you see this. So the demigods who are higher than the ancestors, the Pitta, for them, our 1 year is their 1 day. So here we are speaking of the theory of relativity that Einstein has spoken about. He's saying that, as you go in you travel into one direction, then you come back, the time here would have passed much more. And this is a fact. We have got stories in the Bhagavatam that speaks of this. For example, there's one king who could travel. So I think he was brought by some inhabitants of the heavenly planet to see Lord Brahma. And he wanted to find a suitable groom for his daughter. So he brought his daughter along with him. And he went to Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma was busy watching some musical performances. So Lord Brahma, said, you wait here. So after the musical performance was finished, he said, yes, what do you want? So the king said, well, I have come to find a suitable husband for my daughter. Who on earth, would be qualified? And so Lord Brahma started to laugh and say, you came here to Satyaloka. He says, your family, your dynasty, the country that you used to know, all the history which you were used to is completely vanquished. It's done. because you've stayed here for a whole hour or something, which means that billions of years have passed on Earth.
Yeah.
So of course it was all an arrangement of the Lord. When he came back, actually his daughter married Lord Balaram. But
I think
so you can
the only concept that is similar to that in science is like there's this movie Interstellar where they go like but it's according to relativity, but like due to the influence of time, due to like gravity and like speeding up the time that way.
So of course they get some things right, but they get some things wrong too, right? So that's the issue. When you get some things wrong, then how can I cannot trust your knowledge. But Vedas is different. Vedas is revealed by God, so how can it be wrong? So everything falls in place.
The experience of time, like the experience of time for some beings, like I said that like once a woman disturbed, like in the katha for the tomorrow's Ekadashi, there's the Papmochini, like removal of sin, Ekadashi. I think so. There was a rishi meditating, and he was disturbed by a woman, and he was like in trance for like, but then he got captivated and had to like for 57 years, but he felt that time was more quick than what it actually was because of his meditation.
Yes, it's time is relative. You see, just like taking Einstein's example, you spend some time with your lover, it feels like like a few seconds, and you put your hand in the fire, it feels like hours, right? So
I think because someone in the chat wrote that we should not trust any learned man who doesn't speak from the Acharya's instruction, right?
Yes, that's a fact.
Yeah.
So anyway, you see, we'll go in that to maybe conclude this topic of time. We'll just go in that purport and see the breakdown of all this. So here you can see this. So 1 Truti is 8 divided by 13,500 seconds. So this is actually the smallest amount of time. There's nothing smaller than that. And I believe modern day scientists, they go even smaller than this. But from the Shastra, we learned that it's just theoretical, because you cannot actually, because anybody can write like 1 and this and then put 1 million here, right? And say, I can divide. Yeah. If you can put like 13 zeros here, right? I understand. But okay, I will believe you if you can write this number in the time that you're writing. You understand my point? Like if you can move as fast as this time, then I'll believe you. But if you cannot show me a movement that is faster than that, that means it does not exist.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so 1 Truti is 8 times 13,500, 8 divided by 135, 8 times 45, 8 times 15. So this, then we come to like the time that we're used to, 8 second, Kashta, Laghu is 2 minutes, 1 Danda, 30 minutes, 1 Prahara, 3 hours, 1 day, 12 hours, 1 night, 12 hours, 1 Paksha, 15 days, like that. So, and in this way, so 2 Pakshas comprise 1 month, and 12 months comprise 1 calendar year, or 1 full orbit of the sun. A human being is expected to live up to 100 years. That is the way of the controlling measure of eternal time. So what us devotees are interested in, it's not to look at the hourglass. We are interested to know who created the hourglass. That's the distinction. All these scientists, they speak of all these material phenomena, and they're very much astonished. But we want to know who did all this. So the Brahma Samhita 552 affirms this control in this way. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, under whose control even the sun, which is considered to be the eye of the Lord, rotates within the fixed orbit of eternal time. The sun is the king of all planetary system and has unlimited potency in heat and light. So you see, so there's a person that is doing all this. Now, they cannot conceive of that. How can a person do all this? How can a person be that powerful? But we must accept You see, and there's a science to know that person and to develop a relationship with him. That's what we're concerned about. So here, and plus here, you see the sun is the king of our planetary system and has unlimited potency and heat and light. Not that it's burning, like they say, and the sun would be exhausted at one point. No, it has unlimited potency. So
Yeah, 'cause-
you find this
Mhm.
topic interesting? I mean, what we've
Yeah, because
shown
like
so far.
in comparison to what I've recently been doing, because like this lab component to the physics as well.
Mm.
Like we learn about the stars, and in the HR diagram, the Hertz-Russell diagram, there's like at one point the stars start to become like giant, and then
Yeah, and then there's supernova and this and that, right?
yeah.
But how can we believe all this stuff? You know, they have imperfect senses. They create machine with imperfect senses, and then they use their imperfected created machines with their imperfect senses, and they come to some conclusions and write it in their books and teach it to children.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
They don't got to pay money to get a degree.
Yeah. What kind of cheating is this? I mean, look at this. Just like about the moon, you know, what to speak of those planets that are billions and billions of miles away. Let's talk about the moon. That is, you know, okay. So the moon itself, they don't understand what it is. They have no clue. I'll just show you this video
I think it
here.
says the moon is further than the sun according to Vedic.
Yes, it's further than the sun. It's not, and anyway, apart from this, I have this here. I think I've shown that in the class at one point. Where is this? Yeah, okay. You see this? So this man is looking at the shade. It's in a bright moon night, okay, a full moon night. So what you're seeing, red is actually the shade. So that means there's no moonlight. Okay.
So the number one experiment everybody keeps telling me to do over again is this one, and I've actually done it at least 20 times. Okay, here we go, 45 degrees, 41 degrees. This is in the shadow of the moon. We have an extremely clear sky, a very bright moon, 43 degrees Fahrenheit. Now we're going to go into the moonlight, 41 degrees. Doesn't matter where you are. Now we're looking at a concrete slab, and you say, well, there's uneven heating and cooling of the concrete slab. But I've done this in grass. I've done this experiment many times, countless times. In fact, this is a forward-looking infrared, 39 degrees. This is directly in the shadow. And I won't go over here, 38 degrees. Always warmer in the shadow, or we can inversely say always cooler in the moonlight. So it's always cooler in the moonlight.
So moonlight, and you know, we from Shastra, we call moonlight soothing moonlight, which means it's cooling. It has a cooling effect. It's the opposite of the sun. So if moonlight is simply the reflection of the rays of the sun, then why is it creating that effect? That's just like, this is a first like logical thing. Then second, why is it so bright and beautiful? It looks like a pearl floating in the sky, but then they go there in broad daylight and it's like turned gray and nothing shines. How does that make sense again? And apart from this logical thing, if we take the Shastra, the Soma is the king of all vegetation. Because he gives juices. From Bhagavad Gita, we learn that Krishna says, I become the moon and thus supply the juice of life to all vegetables. So you see vegetables, and they get very juicy and they get all the nice, because of the moonlight, not just sunlight. Moonlight is also very much essential. And so how is it that the moon is supplying the juice of life to all vegetables, and there's no vegetables, there's no plants on the moon? You see, so this kind of thinking, we have to break free from the conditioning that they've given us. This atheistic civilization has, you know, brainwashed us to think in a specific way. So that's it's very unfortunate. But what to do now? At least us who are reading these scriptures, we can wake up. But we have to be serious, you know. Because if we still listen too much with them, if we have too much affinity with them, we become contaminated. That's why Asat Sangha is important, to give up the association of such atheistic people, because it's contaminating to the mind. I'm sure you feel it. Now you're hearing this lecture, you feel good, you feel like, yes, this is it. Then when you go back like in your class and hear them, you feel the influence that they have upon you, isn't it?
Yeah, I arranged my life such a way that like I can spend my time chanting more at home. But still, I find the mind is very fickle.
Yeah.
Because like I understand that it's like karma, how activities, like even so-called pious activities, are actually just become misery in the end.
Yeah. Don't worry about the disturbed mind. Just keep chanting, and the best thing is that you put Prabhupada chanting japa with you. Prabhupada japa tape.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't have any of the like paraphernalia. Is that like all the things? But I use my fingers, like the 1, 2.
Yeah. No, you should order. You should order online. You got a credit card, right? You can order things online, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You go to this website, Krishna Store. I think actually they have a lot of storage in Australia, so they will be shipping from there itself. Can anybody put the
website today?
Anybody can put the Krishna Store website in the chat box. You go there and you order some beads. Are you vegetarian?
Yeah, for like last 2 years. I think from bad association I was
okay.
Like back and
That's
forth.
nice. So you order some tulsi beads, okay, with a bead bag. That will help you a lot. First of all, you're in touch with the pure devotee Tulsi Devi, and then it helps you focus because there's a movement that you keep doing with your fingers. Okay. Then second, it's like your weapon. You got this. It'll be very dear to you to carry it around and all. And you count. There's the numerical strength. You're counting how many you're chanting, like that. So it's important you buy those beads and you buy a counter. Something that you hang onto the bead bag so you can count how many rounds you've chanted, like that. So that'll help you a lot. You do that. It's not complicated. You just go there and you order and you'll receive it. It'll be much easier for you to chant. And then you can chant with Prabhupada. Like you go on YouTube, you put Prabhupada japa, you can let it play.
I already do that.
And that's good. Or you can join also our japa sessions in the ISKM Vaishnava Sangha group on Telegram. There's often some japa sessions where the other devotees are speaking, are chanting. You can join them,
Yeah. I think
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to some other devotees. There's some other questions, I guess, in the chat box. So thank you very much, Veron, for reading and discussing with us.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we'll go to the raised hands first. So there's Bhakta Debalai Nandi. You can speak.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All good Srila Prabhupada. So, Prabhu, basically, I have one question. That when you were explaining that the image of the atom through that sun thing, actually my network was not good at all. So, could you please repeat that again?
Okay. So you've seen the images, though? Were you seeing the images?
Yes, actually, I've seen that, but not clearly.
Okay, can you see now? Is it clear?
Yes, now it's clear. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so in the honeycomb, there are many small hexagon shape, right?
Yes.
Okay, so but when you take a look at many of them together, you can also see that shape. You understand? Like you can see it here, like 3 on this side, 3 on this side, 3 on this side. So if you do the same thing with atoms, let's say you see 100 billion atoms together, you will be able to see the shape of the single atom. Do you follow?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
The same thing as here. Imagine that these are atoms, actually. Okay, so if like let's say there's 20 of them together here, okay, well that still makes the hexagon shape. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So when the sun pours through the lens of this camera, Okay, well, why does it shoot like this in 6 different directions? Of course, now sometimes it shoots in 12 direction, but I use this example because I don't have a picture of the sun pouring out of the of a screen window, but you would see the same thing. You can make the experiment if you want. So this hexagon that you see here is there because it's hundreds and billions of atoms that are hexagon shape, all stacked together, and therefore we can see this shape. You understand?
Yes.
You understand, right?
Yes, like all together.
Yes. That's it all together, but it still makes... So same thing, according to Bhagavatam, the same thing will be observed if you see the sun pouring through a screen window. So I don't know how were screen windows in Vedic times. It could be maybe like many small holes, or maybe like a screen with many small holes. If you see the sun pour, you will see like those rays of shooting light going in 6 direction like that.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
So you understand?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Okay, Bhakta Saikarti, Prabhu, you have raised your hand. You can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhupada.
Prabhu, actually, I would like to apologize beforehand because I do not know how to exactly post my question, but I hope like I will not make any offense or anything. But like I was just thinking, okay, what I was thinking. Actually, the thing is, when the pure devotee comes down, like when Prabhupada comes down, he's free from 4 defects, and all the shastras proclaim that he's as good as God. And that is a fact, absolutely, because by following Prabhupada's instruction, our life changes, and in 10 years, he did something that no one can ever do. So one can judge by the reactions. But somewhere else, I do not remember the exact quotation or from where, but I think it was in Veda base only that I read that when the spiritual master descends, he accepts a material body. Is it true that way?
So first, you'll have to explain what is matter and what is spirit. Can you explain?
Spirit is eternal, whereas matter is changing.
Well, I mean, the deities also decay in the temple, right? Like Jagannath deity,
Yes,
you cannot keep it for longer than 12 years. It decays, and then they have to... So what is Jagannath matter?
Okay.
So then what is matter and what is spirit?
Is it that since both are the energies of the Lord, so Krishna can use matter to exhibit functions of the spirit and spirit to exhibit functions of the matter inversely?
That means that for him, there's no such distinction. If both can be used for both, there's no distinction as matter and spirit. So what is matter? What is spirit? You see, matter and spirit exist in the eyes of the beholder. It doesn't exist as truth in itself. When Krishna comes to the material world, he doesn't come to the material world. Whether Krishna is in the spiritual world or material world is absolutely no distinction for him. And it's the same thing for a pure devotee. Matter simply means forgetfulness of God. That's matter, that's all. If I see something as being separate from Krishna, this is material. This is my material conception. So therefore, the line between matter and spirit moves as the devotee progresses in spiritual life. It's not something that is fixed, right? Because Srila Prabhupada says that for a pure devotee, there's no longer anything material. He sees everything as the energy of God. So if everything is Krishna's energy, where is matter? So because Shastra knows that we are not self-realized soul, obviously, it discriminates. Krishna says, right? Bhumi, Rapo, and Lovayu, my 8 material energy, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. These are my 8 separate material energy. So, okay, we understand that this is acting here. But for a pure devotee who sees the presence of Krishna everywhere, what is the meaning of material? Because he never forgets Krishna, and he will never utilize something not for Krishna. So he's in spiritual consciousness. There is this nice sentence Prabhupada speaks in the purport of the Bhagavad Gita. To material conception of life. Material conception. So just give me a second here. So for those of you who don't know, I'm in China. I'm back from the 9 to 10 months tour around different country. So I'm back to using a VPN, which means that sometimes it slows down. Find someone. Okay, destruction. Okay, let me see. It's in purport, text and purport. Renounce, is it? If I don't find, I'll just paraphrase with Prabhupada. Okay, I don't think I can. So there's a purport where Prabhupada says that the highest stage of spiritual advancement is renouncing the material concept of life. So when one stops to see matter, he doesn't see matter anymore. So that means he's self-realized. Vasudeva sarvamiti, samahatma sudurlabha. So one just sees Vasudeva. He sees that God is everything. There's no, like at the time being, we think God is in the temple, right? We think God is the deity. But I see my lamp, I see the building, I see the window. This is not God. Well, so I still have a discrimination. What is spirit? What is matter? That means I'm a conditioned soul. But one who is liberated, he doesn't see anything Brahman. This Brahman realization is that everything is Brahman. Everything is spirit. Everything is spiritual. That's the beginning of spiritual understanding. So further than that is that everyone is part and parcel of God and is eternal servant of God as a personal realization. So that means that when Prabhupada says he comes and he accepts a material body, that means that the energy of Krishna will seemingly act as matter, just like the transformation that you were talking about, that temporary, right? Like Srila Prabhupada's body is like no longer seen. So in this way, Prabhupada says he accepts a material body, but it doesn't mean that it's material body, because the function of how we utilize something determines its quality. See, so therefore, because the body of a pure devotee is 100% engaged in the service of the Lord, it's not material. It never touched the three modes. It's always engaged in some service. You understand? Because devotional service, what is that? Prabhupada says in the CC, right? 12:8, I think, Adi. So the order of the spiritual master is the active principle in spiritual life. So that means that activities in spiritual life are not brought about by a material force. The order of the spiritual master, which comes from the spiritual world, it's another potency that interferes in the material world and comes and says, you do like this. Just like if we were still bound by our karma, we'd be doing activities according to our karma, the three modes. I'll be going to the movie theater, I'll be going to the pizzeria, I'll be smoking cigarette or whatever. So this is influenced by the three modes. But then here comes Srila Prabhupada and he says, you chant 16 rounds, you follow the four regulative principles. Where does that come from? This is not some karmic reaction. It comes from the spiritual world, you see. So therefore, his body is not touching this material mode because it's not moving according to the three modes. Transcendental. You see, like there's a when I was a kid, I remember there was this experiment that we were doing in primary school. They coat your finger with some sort of powder, and then you dip your finger in water, and then you bring it out, and it's completely dry. It did not get wet at all, although it's in water. It appears to be in water. So it's the same thing for a pure devotee. The pure devotee's body does not touch the three modes of material nature. You see, there's this nice verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is also quoted. Actually, I think it's from the Purana, but it's quoted in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and I think it's quoted in the Chaitanya Bhagavata also. So here it is. Would you like to read this?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. From where, Prabhu? From just as Bharata from okay. Just as Bharata and Lakshmana, the son of Sumitra, and just as Shankarshana and other forms of the Supreme Lord appear in this world by their own will, similarly the Vaishnava associates of the Lord appear with the Lord and then return to the Lord's eternal abode with the Lord. Like the Lord, the Vaishnavas do not take birth according to their past karma.
Yeah, I think, okay, you can read this one also.
Yes, sir. Just as Lakshmana, Bharata, and Sankarshana take birth with the Lord, the Yadava cowherd people, descending from the spiritual planet by the Lord's will, take birth with the appearance of Lord Krishna, and then return to his eternal Dham along with him. The birth of devotees is not caused by bondage to karma.
So you see, their coming into the material world is not forced by the three modes, as opposed to us who are conditioned souls. When they come into the direct, because of the direct order of the Lord. So it's completely different. It has nothing to do with how we live. They come here as saviors. We are to be saved. We have to be convinced of that. We are to be saved. We're not saving anybody here. We are the ones that are being saved. So that's why to think that the body of a pure devotee is material is offensive, right? Pure devotee's body as material, Ganga water as being normal water, like that. So there's different offense. Aditi to be made of wood, like this. So these are all offenses that we have to be careful to not do. So you see, another thing is, like His Grace Nagopal Prabhu quoted a verse recently. I don't think I'll be able to find it. That it's Narada Muni who speaks on how he became self-realized. He said first he got knowledge of the Supreme, then he got, I think it was like the power, like the Ashtasiddhis, right? The mystic powers, like that. So the point here, and Prabhupada said it many times, is that a pure devotee has got these Ashtasiddhi. You see, like the material perfections of the yogis, to become smaller than the smallest, bigger. If anybody knows this verse, you can please share it. Larger. So Prabhupada has got these potency. He can control matter like that, like a yogi. Now, why he did not display that? Of course, he might have displayed a little bit to some devotees here and there, but why he did not display openly like Lord Jesus Christ did? You see, Lord Jesus Christ, he walked on water, he made, bread appear, so many miracles he did. Why Prabhupada did not do that? Because he came to give pure devotional service. He did not, preaching according to this means would have made everybody hyped up. Oh, here's a great person. They will have come to Prabhupada to get these mystic powers. I also want to become like that. The whole thing would have become polluted. Therefore, Prabhupada acted like a normal human being. And therefore, Krishna also, when those pure devotee comes, he gives them a material body so that they appear as normal, so that people who will come to them, would be attracted by what they have to say about the Lord, the knowledge that they have to give, and not some other thing that will be only distractions. Now, what I'm speaking to you is my realization. I cannot quote concerning this fact, but if we think about it, It's true. If Prabhupada, let's say Prabhupada were to remain like a 20-year-old man for 100 years, for the time that he lived, that he looked like a 20-year-old, you think people would come to him to know about Krishna? Everybody would come to him to stay 20, So therefore, the Lord, the way the Lord works, he knows how to do. Why Prabhupada came to the West when he was, almost 70 years old? Why he did not come before? His spiritual master ordered him when he was in his early 20s. So why he did not come before? Why at that time? So Krishna knows how to reclaim the conditioned soul. It's his business, He has his plan and he knows how to do that perfectly. So therefore, this acceptance of a material body is simply for our understanding that the body of the spiritual master seems to be acting according to the laws of material nature, but it's not a fact. There's so many testimony of devotees who have touched the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and said this is the softest thing they've ever touched, lifted Prabhupada in his final pastime, and as if they were lifting air. There was no weight. So many things like that. So is that okay, Sai Karti Prabhu?
So actually, even I was speculating about this yesterday. So because Shastra says that the pure devotee does not have any defects as a fact, and the pure devotee is also completely spiritual. Therefore, he comes on his own will, leaves on his own will. So then I was thinking, but it seems that Prabhupada's body was aging. So I was actually very scared to ask this question, because there's a verse also which says that one who considers the spiritual master's body as material or an ordinary man, yes, he's considered to be, if I'm not wrong, a resident of hell.
So unless
so
you
yeah,
see, Acharya
so I was a little
means,
scared.
Acharya
But
means
then,
preaching
as
by
I said,
example.
he appears.
Acharya means,
Yes, bro.
Acharya means preaching by example. Yes. Right.
Yes,
He
bro.
preaches by showing. Okay. So unless the Acharya dies, how are we gonna learn how to die? Yes. So therefore,
Yes, bro.
Prabhupada's leaving his body, is called the final pastime. It's a pastime. It's an instruction on how we should die. Prabhupada, in his final moment, he was Krishna conscious, fearless, and still preaching all to the last breath. So these arrangements by the Lord are made so that we get some instruction, some physical example of a pure devotee, how he lives, how he dies even, So these things, of course, the disappearance of Prabhupada is not some things that is very much discussed amongst his disciples. It's not supposed to be something nice to speak about, but we can understand that to his last moment, physically manifested before our eyes, he preached to us. So, and therefore the Lord creates such circumstances in a devotee's life, right? So, okay, I think we will we'll try to catch up with the questions because we're already 1 hour 40 minutes. So thank you very much, Sai Karti Prabhu. So
Thank you for answering my question, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. We have Bhakta Veron who would like to speak.
I think in one of the purports of when Bhishma Dev was dying, because he could leave his body through yogic mystic power, but it said that the pure representatives, they leave their body by, they do not worry if they leave their body by accident or arrangement because they have their faith in Krishna.
Yeah, well, accident, that's actually everything that a pure devotee goes through is all orchestrated by Krishna. So where's the accident? There's no question of accident. Accident means, maybe from our perspective, but there's no accident because we've read it. It's by their own will or by the sweet will of the Lord. That's all. Just like Haridas Thakur, he said, my dear Lord, now you're going to depart. You're going to close your pastimes. I don't want to see this. Please let me leave. And therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu granted, yes, okay, you can go. And he grasped his lotus feet and he left. He grasped the lotus feet of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he left. And everybody remembered how Bhishma had left, So there's nothing that a pure devotee does that is not arranged by the Supreme Lord. See? Yeah. So that's we have to have this conviction. how to understand this, we're not there yet, but at least we should accept what Shastra says. What Prabhupada says, what he does, this is all perfect. Even when he makes a mistake, it's perfect. Because the mistake is according to our calculation. We think, oh, maybe this is a mistake. Actually, we're the mistake.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
so that should be the amount of faith that we have, that the Prabhupada cannot be wrong. He cannot be wrong. So that's all. And if you see things that he seems to be wrong, then we have to approach senior devotee and ask, and why am I thinking like that? Why am I seeing like this? What is the meaning?
Yeah. But unfortunately,
And
I also listen to a lot of like people on YouTube who call it like a cult, and so like I just listen to it to
don't listen to this. Don't listen to that. We should not hear anything that these people are saying. They're illusion. You have, because now we're trying to get cured. If we go and take some bad things for us, we're going to remain diseased. We have to take medicine, and all what these people are saying is like fast food. It's going to keep us sick. It's not good. It's poison, because they're conditioned soul. What they speak, it's all mental speculation. So when you hear them, you associate with them, and whatever specific programmation of the three modes of material nature that they have in their mind is going to be transferred into your mind.
Yeah, that's the power of association. Yeah.
Yes, the power of association can be wonderful, and it can be destructive too.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why we have to associate only with devotees, because devotees are under the shelter of the internal potency of the Lord. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, those who are surrendered are under the shelter of the internal potency. So devotees move according to a spiritual energy, whereas karmis move according to a material energy, however great they might be. They are under the material modes. So therefore we have to be very, very careful. And there's this verse, Prabhu often quotes also. So you see how association works. Can you read this?
As the qualities of a nearby object are reflected in a crystal, one similarly takes on the qualities of the person with whom he associates. Therefore, in order to increase one's devotional sentiment in his own line, a wise person should take shelter of those who have the same temperament.
Yeah. So that means we have to give up the association of non-devotees, because whatever mindset they have is going to influence us. Association doesn't just mean physical distance. If I hear a podcast or anything, I'm associating with these people. So unless I've got a specific purpose for preaching, I should not be listening to any of these things. I should use my time to read Prabhupada books. Prabhupada books alone, and hear from the bona fide devotees who represent him, and that's it. If we do that, our faith is going to increase, because now we have to fan it. Now we've got little faith in God. Now we have to fan it. And this fan it is Shravanam Kirtanam. We need to hear the pure devotee, Prabhupada. The more you read, the more your faith will strengthen, and you will feel it. And then, you will make spiritual advancement. But as soon as you hear them, your faith weakens, right? Oh no, we've gone to the moon, and we've got sand from the moon. The moon is close to the earth. Oh wow, how come? I'm reading from Shastra, the moon is further than the sun. How does that work? And And then you start to become bewildered. So therefore, we should not hear anything from them. We have to take from Shastra, because after all, we will see the result. By chanting Hare Krishna, we change, is it not? I personally used to drink, I used to smoke, I used to do all this nonsense, eat meat, whatever. And by this chanting of Hare Krishna, I stopped it. How come? What is this potency? How did it happen? I still remember I was eating meat, then I started chanting, then I was like, how can I eat this disgusting? So I gave up meat, and I was like on eggs for some time like that. And slowly, I almost puked one day because I thought of meat, and I was like, I have to give that up. Then I realized, because before you read no meat eating, but you don't have much faith, so maybe you continue. Then at one point you realize, yeah, it's true, it's so harmful and it's so bad, so you give it up. So the realizations are coming. The heart is becoming purified simply by chanting. So it's working. This is science, theory and practice. We're practicing it, and it's actually acting upon ourselves. So that is true. But their theory, life comes from matter and this, and then the moon is far. What is the meaning of all of this? I mean, it has no Has no basis.
I think I just learned the thing just to get the grades, but kind of for no other purpose at this moment. Yeah, I mean, maths will always be maths. The physics aspect is speculation.
Yeah, but even maths, I mean, it's okay. You can use it, but how long will it? How much can you gain from math? There's a verse in the Bhagavatam, if one can bring it out, that even if the material scientists can count the number of atoms in the universe, they will still not be able to understand the Supreme Lord. Can you imagine the number of atoms in the universe? How you can calculate that? And if they can, even though they reach that conclusion, still they won't be able to get freed from material entanglement. So mathematics has got its limit. You cannot go that far. Anyway, for now, you continue your studies, but whenever you have time, you join these sessions. You join the japa session, order your bead bag, read Prabhupada books. Like this, at least you'll be able to maintain
and I got
yourself.
one question about the beads. Yeah. Should I order? What does it mean by small, medium, and large beads? Is it
it's just the size, the size of the beads. If you want them very small or medium.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's just a personal preference, like you want.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to the comment section here. I'll see if there's any questions. Dimitri Prabhu here saying, like one of Srila Prabhupada's disciple said in a morning walk that it is my lila to suffer in this world, and Prabhupada said, let me kick you in the face if it's your lila. Okay, so that's concerning the topic about the Mayavadis that think themselves liberated. So obviously Prabhupada's disciple must have been putting an argument on behalf of the Mayavadi. They say that it's my lila to be suffering in the material world, so Prabhupada said, let me kick you in the face. It's also your lila. It's a fact, let me punch you, let me rub you, and that's going to be your lila. So for such foolish persons, stick is the last argument. And if it's your lila, why you're trying to avoid suffering, right? You're still trying to protect yourself. So clearly, by seeing that people are forced to suffering, we can understand we're not supreme. This is just common sense. This is, but these people are Maya Paritagriana. Their knowledge has been stolen by illusion. We've seen that. Maya has got two potencies, So yes, you're a big scholar, Maya's telling them, yes, you're a very big scholar. You know everything, you're all right. But at the same time, she doesn't let them understand. Okay. Swami Prabhu said 18th century modern atomic theory started. Yeah. So 18th century means the 1700s. So as Veron has said. So Jani Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Nimai, Nitai Prabhu, and all the Vaishnava, please kindly accept my most humble obeisances. Hare Krishna, Jani Prabhu, thank you for coming. Yeah. So okay. Saurav Prabhu said boson. They say some fundamentals, particles, photon is a boson. Yeah, they've got all those fancy names for different particles they say they find, Okay. They need to go to some else from. Okay, Satyam Sharma is asking, I am chanting on neem beads. Prabhu, when can one start chanting on the tulsi beads? Should the tulsi beads be used for chanting only after initiation? And what are the rules and regulations regarding the use of tulsi beads? So basically, if you're vegetarian, you can chant on tulsi beads, because if one is still eating meat, he cannot be suchi. And it's offensive to be touching tulsi when one is muchi. So if you're vegetarian, then you can buy some tulsi beads. There's no objection. But when you'll get initiation, you'll get your tulsi beads from your spiritual master, from Srila Prabhupada. So you'll have to change then again. You receive new beads. But now you can order tulsi beads. There's no objection. Debale Nandi is saying, I think in teaching of Lord Chaitanya, Prabhupada says in the spiritual world, there's no matter. Everything has living potency. Yes. This is a fact. a fact that is theory for us now. We cannot understand that. How is everything alive, you know? But yes, this is what we learn from Shastra. Okay, so there's a quotation from, this is I think Hindi or Sanskrit name, Radhika Sharma. I can read a little bit. So Radhika Sharma Mataji is quoting 11:15, 4-5. Among the 8 primary mystic perfections, the 3 by which one transforms one's body are Anima, becoming smaller than the smallest, Mahima, becoming greater than the greatest, and Laghima, becoming lighter than the lightest. Through the perfection of Prapti, one acquires whatever one desires, and through Prakamya Siddhi, one experiences any enjoyable objects, either in this world or the next. Through Ishita Siddhi, one can manipulate the sub-potencies of Maya, and through the controlling potency called Vashita Siddhi, one is unimpeded by the 3 modes of nature. One who has acquired Kama Vasayita Siddhi can obtain anything from anywhere to the highest possible limit. My dear gentle Uddhava, these 8 mystic perfections are considered to be naturally existing and unexcelled within this world. So if you want the 8 yogic perfection, Mataji has quoted Srimad Bhagavatam 11:15, 4 and 5. So Saurav Prabhu is saying, is there anything as Mahabhav? We know that there is Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, and Prema, the final stage. Then what is this Mahabhav? Okay, that is a complete other topic than what and we don't have much time. But Mahabhava is experienced only by Shrimati Radharani and the gopis, you know. That is explained by Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, you can read this verse. Saurav Prabhu, you can read this for now. This is a CC Adi 468. Pranam, Agresisha Prabhupada.
Yes, Prabhu.
You can read this 468 Adi Lila.
Yeah, translation only, Prabhu, right?
Yeah.
The essence of the Hladini potency is love of God. The essence of love of God is emotion, bhava, and the ultimate development of emotion. It's Mahabhava.
Yeah, so and then I think okay, but this highest cannot be experienced by us. This is experienced only by Shrimati Radharani. Where is this verse? I'm trying to locate a verse from the CC. I think it's in the Madhya Lila, where this Mahabhava spoke. Oh, I think it's here. Okay, so you see this is 14,177. Near there. Okay, let's see. Okay. 20 bhavas. Okay, you can read this here. I'm sharing. This is Madhya Lila, chapter 14. So he's speaking about Shrimati Radharani here. Okay. 172 onward.
Approaching her, Krishna prohibits Srimati Radharani from picking flowers. He may also touch her in front from her friends.
Continue.
At such times, the ecstatic symptoms of Tila Kinchita are awoken. First, there is jubilation in ecstatic love, which is the root cause of these symptoms. Pride, ambition, weeping, smiling, envy, fear, and anger are the 7 ecstatic loving symptoms manifested by a jubilant shrinking away. And these symptoms are called Kilakrinsita Bhava. There are 7 other transcendental ecstatic symptoms, and when they combine on the platform of jubilation, the combination is called Mahabhava.
So you see, now they're describing. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing the 7. Is it Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? It could be Ramananda Rai. I'm not so sure. Anyway, so there are 7 other transcendental ecstatic symptoms, and when they combine on the platform of jubilation, the combination is called Mahabhava. So this is experienced by Srimati Radharani only. The 7 combined ingredients of Mahabhava are pride, ambition, fear, joy, artificial, crying, anger, envy, and mind smiling in this way. So you see, then it speaks about Krishna and Srimati Radharani's dealings. So Mahabhava is experienced by her only. This is not something that is accessible to us. Okay. Okay. So Sami Prabhu is quoting Madhya Lila 21:11. In time, great. Okay, we'll go there because that's the verse that we're speaking of. Madhya, right? Yeah. Madhya 21:11. So. Okay. So I'll read that. In time, great scientists may be able to count all the atoms of the universe, all the stars and planets in the sky, and all the particles of snow. But who among them can count the unlimited transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He descends on the surface of the globe for the benefit of all living entities. This verse is also quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.7. Okay, yeah, that's it. It's Bhagavatam actually. 10.14.7. So there you go. They can count all the atoms, all the planets and all, but they will not be able to understand the Lord. Okay. Bhaktajad. Rupa Goswami states that there are 2 competitors in loving Krishna, Radharani and Chandravali. When they are compared, it appears that Radharani is superior, for she is Mahabhava Svarupa. The term Mahabhava Svarupa, the personification of Mahabhava, is applicable to Radharani only and no one else. Mahabhava is full of the pleasure potency, and it is an exhibition of the highest love for Krishna. So this is teaching of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 31. So this teaching of Lord Chaitanya is actually based on many of the conversations of the Lord that we find in the CC. There's conversations with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Ramananda Rai, Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami. So Prabhupada has put all these, in the CC. So this, what Bhaktajad has just quoted here, it's probably found in one of these chapters that we just read from. Okay, who else? Okay, Debale Nandi, Prabhu, you have your hand raised.
Yes, Prabhu. I think Shrikant Prabhu has also some questions. So first,
Okay, Shrikant Prabhu, you can go first then.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Prabhupada. Prabhu, what does Veda says about accumulating wealth, Prabhu? Like oftentimes I'm in a situation where in the workplace I'm having these wrong ambitions of getting promotions, getting more money, but I know inside that it is not in the right direction. I just wanted to understand what does Veda say.
So, wealth can be very dangerous because we can easily get led by desire for sense gratification. Actually, unless one is surrendered to the spiritual master, it is very dangerous to deal with money. Therefore, we have this verse here. You can read. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 3:27-8.
For his income, a devotee should be satisfied with what he earns without great difficulty. He should not eat more than what is necessary. He should live in a secluded place and always be thoughtful, peaceful, friendly, compassionate, and self-realized.
So the important point here, for his income, a devotee should be satisfied with what he earns without great difficulty. So we should not endeavor to earn more than what we actually require, because actually all of us who are working and getting a salary, we're not needing that much. The rest we store in the bank, right? And we see the numbers grow.
Yes,
but actually, a saintly behavior is to not store wealth. There should be a little bit stored for emergency purposes, but whatever extra we have, we should spend for Krishna. That is the actually factor that will help us become freed from the influence of this accumulating wealth. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that demons think like this, that so much wealth do I have now, and it will increase in the future more and more. So this tendency to accumulate wealth, to stock it, is actually a demoniac tendency. A saintly person will take the money, immediately spend it for Krishna, and then make more and spend it for Krishna. Prabhupada, he gave example of his own Grihastha ashram. He said he never stored wealth. Whenever he had money, he would spend immediately. Whether, of course, he had his business to run, so make money, spend in some in the business, and the rest he would give donation, big donations to the Gaudiya Math in those days, or he would print Back to Godhead magazine like that. So that wealth is an energy, and it can help you advance spiritually, but you must give it up for the sake of the Lord. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work causes bondage in this material world, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu, that means I can perform my duty of going to work and all, but the result I must use it in his service. There's so much need of money to expand this movement, to buy books or print books or rent properties. And so if you help the preachers, then that goes to your credit, because whatever you're giving in donation, you're also part of the preaching field, in the sense that you're fueling the power of money behind all the organizations and temple and all. Because after all, those who are full-time preachers, they need this money, these donations, to come in order to do what we do, right? So it's important. So you can support in this way, because if you don't that, then money will bring about a lot of bad quality. If we just keep it for ourselves with the desire to enjoy it, it can be very dangerous. Here you can read this verse. Okay, go ahead.
Stealing or cheating another person out of his money, the conditioned soul somehow or other keeps it in his possession and escapes punishment. Then another man named Devadatta cheats him and takes the money away. Similarly, another man named Vishnumitra steals the money from Devadatta and takes it away. In any case, the money does not stay in one place. It passes from one hand to another. Ultimately, no one can enjoy the money, and it remains the property of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So money is a temporary possession. It never remains where it is. It's not possible. So if we somehow or other have it in our hands, then we have an opportunity to use it for the Lord, and that should be done. Whereas if we just store it, something's gonna happen. Some legal case gonna come, or we're gonna have to spend. So while we have it, let's just spend it, and that's to our eternal credit. If we spend for the Lord, I subsist on donations. I've decided to be full-time, even though I'm a grihastha and I have family. So I try to preach whatever little I can. And somehow or other, I see that Krishna is providing, But even though I subsist on donation, I also give donation. I use, when I get some money and I feel that I have too much, that I don't need that much, I'll do things. Like this time I went to Singapore, we started our 9 months travel like that. So I received many donations in Singapore. And I thought that it was more than what I needed, so I bought some Kindles for many of the devotees, and I put all of Prabhupada books in there, like that. I wanted to make some gift to the devotees. When I was in Australia, also my father's money that he's giving me sometimes, I gave some to the devotees there. Here also I received some donation in China. I gave some to the temple so that they can buy flowers, and on Gora Purnima I gave. So if we want to develop Brahminical quality, we need to learn to give, because two of the duties of a Brahmana is first to receive donation, but to give donation also. Of course, receiving donation, that happens when one takes fully to the Brahminical engagement, which is to learn Shastra, teach Shastra, learn deity worship, and teach deity worship. But the whole idea is that we have to do away with it, because greed is you cannot cure greed. It just grows and grows and grows. You can see this. This is 7:15:20 Bhagavatam. You can read.
The strong bodily desires and needs of a person disturbed by hunger and thirst are certainly satisfied when he eats. Similarly, if one becomes very angry, that anger is satisfied by chastisement and its reaction. But as for greed, even if a greedy person has conquered all the directions of the world or has enjoyed everything in the world, still he will not be satisfied.
You see, greed, there's just no end to it. And the fact, is that we're seeing it. People who are millionaires want to become billionaires. People who are billionaire want to be multi-billionaire. There's just no end. It just goes and goes, and you will never be happy. In fact, you'll become more and more miserable, because the more you own, the more anxiety you have to not lose it. So that means you're always afraid. Who's going to take my money? Is some legal case going to come? How is it going to disappear? So in this way, you start to think, how is everybody going to steal me? How can I protect it? Where do I do the investment? Are my stocks going to plunder? So you're always in anxiety. But if you don't own anything and you're satisfied with what you have, this doesn't come. You see, you can read this verse here. This is 7:13:32.
The Brahmana continued, I am actually seeing how a rich man who is a victim of his senses is very greedy to accumulate wealth, and therefore suffers from insomnia due to fear from all sides, despite his wealth and opulence.
You can read the purport.
Greedy capitalists accumulate wealth under so many miserable conditions, the result being that because they collect money by questionable means, their minds are always agitated. Thus, they are unable to sleep at night, and they have to take pills for mental tranquility to invite sleep. And sometimes even the pills are a failure. Consequently, the result of having accumulated money by so much labor is certainly not happiness, but only distress. What is the value of acquiring a comfortable position if one's mind is always disturbed?
Yeah, there you go. Here's the whole idea behind that. It's a fact. If you get more money, your mind is always disturbed. These rich people are never, calm in the heart. So you can have the nicest of bed, the biggest of TV, the most beautiful of houses, but if you're always disturbed in mind, you're always situated in anxiety. What's the use of all this? And therefore, they pay these therapists. They pay these health coach. They pay they all want to try to get their self together and get out of this fear and anxiety, but they can't, because greed is just too strong in their heart. So later here, you see, okay, you can read this from here.
As far as our Krishna consciousness movement is concerned, we are getting money naturally by the grace of God, by selling our literature. This literature is not sold for our sense gratification. To spread the Krishna consciousness movement, we need so many things. And Krishna is therefore supplying us requisite money to advance this mission. The mission of Krishna is to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And for this purpose, we naturally must have sufficient money. Therefore, according to the advice of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, we should not give up attachment to money that can spread the Krishna consciousness movement. Srila Rupa Goswami says in his...
Yeah, okay, here. You can read from here.
When persons eager to achieve liberation renounce things which are related to Supreme Personality of Godhead, though they are material, this is called incomplete renunciation. Money that can help in spreading the Krishna conscious movement is not a part of the material world, and we should not give it up, thinking that it is material.
So you see, so if it can be used for spreading Krishna consciousness, then it's all right. But the danger here is that when we're not trained up, when we're not in strong association, we might think, oh, I want to make money for Krishna, but then we end up using it for ourselves, and it becomes a source of misery. You see, so we have to be very careful when we deal with money. That's a fact, because it's the source. There's two things that bring about lamentation, illusion, all these things, and money is one of them. So you can read this verse. This is 7:13:34, so it's just a few verses later. So you see this: shoka, lamentation; moha, illusion; bhaya, fear; krodha, anger; raga, attachment; klaibya, poverty; shrama, unnecessary labor; adayaha, and so on. So all these things, who wants this? Do you want lamentation, illusion, fear, anger, attachment, poverty? We don't want that, right? So, okay, read this translation.
Those in human society who are intelligent should give up the original cause of lamentation, illusion, fear, anger, attachment, poverty, and unnecessary labor. The original cause of all of these is desire for unnecessary prestige and money.
You see, we want to be respected and we want money. These two things are the cause of all of this. So who can be happy? How is it possible? So all these big person, they obviously want to be respected. They want prestige, right? And they want money. So that means they have got lamentation, illusion, fear, anger, attachment. They become complete. Of course, poverty will follow because they're not using wealth properly anyway. So in their next life, they'll be poor. And unnecessary labor. You can read the purport.
Here is the difference between Vedic civilization and the modern demoniac civilization. Vedic civilization concerned itself with how to achieve self-realization, and for this purpose, one was recommended to have a small income to maintain body and soul together. The society was divided into Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras, and the members of the society would limit their endeavors to meeting their minimum demands. The Brahmanas in particular would have no material desires. Because the Kshatriyas had to rule the people, it was necessary for them to have money and prestige. But the Vaishyas were satisfied with the agricultural produce and milk from the cow, and if by chance there was excess, trade was allowed. The Shudras were also happy, for they would get food and shelter from the three higher classes. In the demoniac civilization of the present day, however, there is no question of Brahmanas or Kshatriyas. There are only so-called workers and a flourishing mercantile class who have no goal in life. According to Vedic civilization, the ultimate perfection of life is to take sannyasa. But at the present moment, people do not know why sannyasa is accepted. Because of misunderstanding, they think that one accepts sannyasa to escape social responsibilities. But one does not accept sannyasa to escape from responsibility to society. Generally, one accepts sannyasa at the fourth stage of spiritual life. One begins as a brahmachari, then becomes a grahastha, a vanaprastha, and finally a sannyasi to take advantage of the duration of one's life by engaging oneself fully in self-realization. Sannyasa does not mean begging from door to door to accumulate money for sense gratification. However, because in Kali Yuga, people are more or less prone to sense gratification, immature sannyasa is not recommended. Srila Rupa Goswami writes in his Nectar of Instruction, Atyahana Prayasascha Prajalpo Niyamagraha Janashangascha Laulyamcha Sadbir Bhakti Vinashyati. Once devotional service is spoiled,
Bhaktir Vinashyati, things that spoil our devotional service. So you read this.
Once devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities: eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required, over-enduring for mundane.
So if we eat more than we need, in other words, if we gain weight, and if we eat more funds than required, that is going to slow down our spiritual progress. You see, So
Yes,
more
Prabhu.
funds than what we require means more fund than what we need for basically eating, sleeping, mating, defending, as little as we need. If we have 3 meals a day, if we have a place to sleep, and we have clothes, that's enough. Now, if we want more than that, we want the best of clothes, and we want to expand our wardrobe, and we want 2 cars, and we want two property. That's too much. So that means if we over endeavor in this accumulating business, it's going to spoil our spiritual advancement. And then over endeavoring for mundane things that are difficult to obtain. Like maybe getting a promotion, you're going to have to do something, very over endeavoring. And because of that, you're going to become entangled in so many material activity, and it's going to take you away from devotional service.
Yes, Prabhu.
You see? So these two points here are to do especially with money, Others, or 6 also, being greedy for mundane achievements, So we've seen that this money making thing is a dangerous business. So, and the fact that one is attracted to want to make money, is attracted by money, that means his mind is contaminated with the mode of passion. So this is 5:14:7. You can read.
Sometimes the living entity is interested in the yellow stool known as gold and runs after it. That gold is a source of material opulence and envy, and it can enable one to afford illicit sex, gambling, meat eating, and intoxication. Those whose minds are overcome by the mode of passion are attracted by the color of gold, just as a man suffering from cold in the forest runs after phosphorescent light in a marshy land, considering it to be fire. Parikshit Maharaj told Kali Yuga to leave his kingdom immediately and reside in 4 places: brothels, liquor shops, slaughterhouses, and gambling casinos. However, Kali Yuga requested him to give him only one place where these 4 places are included, and Parikshit Maharaj gave him the place where gold is stored. Gold encompasses the 4 principles of sin, and therefore, according to spiritual life, gold should be avoided as far as possible. If there is gold, then there is certainly illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. Because people in the Western world would have a great deal of gold, they are victims of these 4 sins. The color of gold is very glittering, and a materialistic person becomes very much attracted by its yellow color. However, this gold is actually a type of stool. A person with a bad liver generally passes yellow stool. The color of the stool attracts a materialistic person, just as the will or wisp of the wisp attracts one who needs heat.
So 4 pillars of sinful life: meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. These things will increase where there's money, where there's gold. Of course, money now is paper, but that paper is based on gold reserve. So whenever the gold is, these things will come. And Prabhupada quoted the Western world. America was very rich, especially at the time that Prabhupada wrote these books. America was super, super wealthy. Every family in America had money. And what happened is that all these sinful activities increased like anything, exponentially. So gold is very dangerous because you've got the opportunity for these sinful activities. You can get it, And what do you do when you get money? You start to think how to spend it. Oh, I can buy a new bag. I can buy new shoes. I can go on vacation and like that. Of course, when one is advanced, you'll be thinking on how to use the money in the service of the Lord. Gold might be bad, but if one thinks I want to buy a pure gold crown for the Lord, then how can this be bad? It's definitely good. But that requires proper guidance, So that therefore we have to be careful as to how we do our business or money-making activities, So I'd like to just conclude this topic with the warning about starting business for Krishna, because it can be one might think, oh, okay, money for Krishna is good, then I'll make a lot of money for Krishna. That has to be careful. You see, this is the CC Madhya Lila, chapter 12, 135 in the purport. Srila Prabhupada speaks here. You can read this part.
In this connection, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura explains that even though one may become free from the desire for fruitive activity, Sometimes a subtle desire for fruitful activity again comes into being within the heart. One often thinks of conducting business to improve devotional activity, but the contamination is so strong that it may later develop into misunderstanding described as Kutinati, fault finding, and Pratishtasa, Pratishtasa, the desire for name and fame and for high position, Jiva Himsa, envy of other living entities, Nisidachara, accepting things forbidden in the Shastra, Kama, desire for material gain, and Puja, hankering for popularity.
You see, so here Prabhupada is speaking of a devotee, a devotee who's thinking, I'll make money for Krishna, and then later on, he becomes entangled and he starts to develop all these bad qualities that we've read. So therefore, money has to be dealt with very carefully, and the best way to protect ourselves while we work is to give donations. One should be giving donation, So therefore, when the devotees are asking for donation in the groups, oh, we need money for this or that, then you give, and you'll see that you'll feel good. You'll feel good, you'll feel that and of course, it's not you give everything, you keep some for your own self, your family, and emergencies. But what you don't need for your basic necessity, you should give away, and that'll be an impetus for your spiritual advancement. Okay, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Bhakta Debale, you have one last question, maybe?
Yes, Prabhu. So my last question is like based on Bhagavad Gita. So in Bhagavad Gita there is one shloka, 13.19, and in the shloka there is particularly one, you can say, word that let me read it. Wait. Yes. So the particular thing is that mad bhavaya prapaddate. So it basically means that Krishna tells that he will attain my nature. Like how we should understand this, because one can say that because in Paramathic level everything will be one, but we Vaishnavas do not accept that. So what is our position? Like can you please explain this?
So the nature of the Lord means Satchidananda. That is his nature. So when the living entity becomes freed from the influence of material nature, he also regains his Satchidananda nature. That's what it means. That means that the body of the pure devotee will be one in quality with Krishna. It will be the same nature, spiritual energy. Whereas in quantity, it won't be. So therefore, Krishna says, one will attain my nature. He did not say one will attain my, my greatness, because that would mean being as great as Krishna, which is impossible. But to be made of Satchidananda is the constitutional position of the living entity. So that's what it means. That's the meaning here, And I guess in the purport, Prabhupada must have addressed this. Let me see. Becomes one with the living. As soon as we transfer.
Prabhu, can I ask like question counter
Yes.
question?
Yeah,
So
sure.
like yes, yeah, of course, like Sachidananda, like Krishna is Sachidananda Vigraha, and we are also Sachidananda because we are his part and parcel. But like because this this monist people, they try to convert this Sanskrit slogas by this Sanskrit knowledge. Like they can say that this bhava means also, you can say bhava means not only this body, but bhava means that greatness also, because Krishna says my mad bhava. So like how to counterattack that?
Well, you see, Krishna has never had to attain this. When he was a baby, he killed Putana. He lifted a mountain when he was 7 months. So there's no question of him achieving that stage. So even if you say that you're going to be achieving, some sort of, liberation, well, you have to endeavor for it, and you're not situated in this yet. But Krishna is already there. So there's no question of him. Plus, he says, here, so Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 5. You can read this.
Yeah, sure. Translation. The personality of God, it said, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot. O subduer of the enemy. Yes. Yeah.
So here we have got the duality. If you say you're God, okay, you're God. But here is a God that doesn't forget all his past birth. So you ask them, do you remember your past birth? No. That means you're not the type of God that Krishna is. You're the other type of God that forgets. So, okay, if you say you're God, all right. But there's a type of God that doesn't forget, and there's a type of God that forgets. So we belong to this one, the one that forgets. But you cannot, Krishna says, right? So that means that Krishna is eternal, we are eternal. He says in 2.12, we've seen, right? And then Prabhupada quotes in 2.12 purport, Nityo Nityanam. So the Nityo, the singular eternal. So you quote that verse in the 2.12 purport. You were there in the beginning of the class? Were you?
Like today's class.
Yeah. Were you there in the beginning?
Actually, I was there, but my network was not good. So that's why I asked you that atom thing. So
yeah. Okay. So in the 2.12 purport, Prabhupada quotes the very famous verse, Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam. Okay. So you quote that because the Mayavada, they don't really accept the Puranas and Bhagavad Gita actually. They argue on the strength of Upanishad. So that's a verse from the Upanishad. So Nityo Nityanam, that means there's one that is eternal and there's a many eternal. Now you cannot say that the many eternal will become the one eternal, because then what's the meaning of saying eternal? Right? So that means the one eternal is the one that doesn't forget, and he's singular number. There's only one of him. So if you're not him, to say if he's there, you're not him. Obviously, we belong to the group that forget about Krishna. That's all. So, and then again, these verses also, I think 220 in the purport or 222 in the purport, Prabhupada quotes more verses from the Upanishad. That verse concerning the two birds sitting in a tree, you've read these verses, right? Two birds sitting in a tree. So you can quote. So two birds sitting in a tree, that means what? That means there's two living entities sitting within the heart. One is eating the fruit of the tree, the other is only observing. So how they can defeat that? That means there's two personalities. One is enjoying the fruit. This is obviously us, and there's somebody else sitting next to us. So how can you say that as soon as I become liberated, I become that person? He's already there with me. He's Nityo, and I'm Nityanam, So in this way, you can, but best thing is to not even care for these people. Don't try to counteract them. Don't even speak to them. Don't even talk to them. Their only business is to kill Krishna. Why would we want to preach to such person? Krishna says, you preach this message to my devotee. That means those who have got little spark of devotion, you preach to them. Don't preach to others. Okay?
Yes. So actually, as you said before, like 212. So in 212 purport, Prabhupada also explains one beautiful thing. I think that Prabhupada says that, like Mayavadi says that Krishna and like they put Bhagavan and Ishwar like in another category as Vyavaharik Satya. So they think they say that Bhagavan or Ishwar, they are actually Maya. So Prabhupada says that if they're Maya, so why I should listen from them? So that is also great, very, very strong argument. And Upanishad, they can also change, but the argument they cannot change. That's why Prabhupada put the best, I can say.
So if they're Maya, then where's the authority of the Vedas? Why should we listen to Vyasadeva? He's also Maya, right? So what is the meaning of all these Upanishad and all? And anyway, so you don't argue with these people anyway. They'll simply, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous actually, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said even an advanced devotee, if he hears Mayavad Bhashya, the commentary from the Mayavadi, their explanation, he will also fall down. So just see how contaminating they are. Advanced devotees, what to speak of us little devotees. So don't get entangled with them. When you see some of those Hindus or Arya Samaj people, where they come, don't care for them.
They are actually offender in the lotus feet of Krishna. Yeah.
Yes, big offender. If I come to your house, your father is behind you, and I tell you your father's got no head, father's got no eyes, your father's got no legs, your father can't speak, your father doesn't exist. Are you going to keep me in your house? You're going to keep having a conversation with me? You punch me in the face, that's what you should do. So, these people are complete offenders. So why even look at them?
Yes,
okay. Hare Krishna. Okay, Satyam Sharma is saying, Prabhu, but regarding this thing, you keep what is necessary and donate the extra money. My question is that the definition of what is absolute necessary to live will vary from person to person. How to then decide for oneself how much to keep? Now, Prabhupada says that the standard is to keep the body and soul together. Is your body and soul still together? If yes, you have enough. So you see, so the standard is the same. It's just, it varies to how far we are from the standard. That's all. I might be further away than you from the standard. I have to come closer to the standard. That's all. It's not that the standard is different from one another. Of course, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, if you eat too much, eat too little, sleep too much, don't sleep enough. So of course that will be varying for one another. But I mean, do you need to make millions to get 3 chapati instead of 2? Come on, if you eat a bit more, it doesn't mean you need to get a promotion for 3 chapatis, So we have to learn to minimize. That's the whole idea, right? We have to learn to minimize material activity. Prabhupada says all the way to meal, like the 6 Goswami, practically they were almost not eating and not sleeping. So we need to learn to minimize like that. So if your soul is still in your body, then you have enough money. That's the criteria. All right, thank you very much. So I think we're going to end this here. So thank you all for attending.
For your kind of
thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for your whole and thanks. Very good.
Thank you so much,
Prabhu.